Well, yeah, since we live now, oh man, this song is very like one of the best songs I've made.
Yeah,
Man.
I love this song. Like I said, if you could put a song behind me to walk around for the rest of my life, it would be this song right here. It would be definitely this song right here for sure.
That song.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. R.I.P. to the Mac.
Um, yo, so this is another episode of Don Talk Podcast. I'm AK the Don, and I'm here with my guy Shotdy.
Yep. What's going on? How y'all doing today?
Oh man, all right. So I mean, before anything, bro, how you doing, man? How you living?
I'm good, man. You know, I've been working. Obviously the climate of the world's a little different, but I'm steadily working. I'm blessed to see another day. How about you, bro?
Right, I'm, same old, bro. Like I'm still going into work every day. Like ain't nothing new. Kind of trying to get into my routines of my standard living.
Yeah.
So, but yeah. So how did quarantine kind of affect you in a way?
I think a quarantine affected me in multiple ways. I think the first way it affected me is it made me kind of go back to myself. I think a lot of times as artists, we are so preoccupied with trying to create an industry, trying to create a building, trying to create our brands. And now the industry is paused. I mean, not fully paused, but the way that we normally do things in the proper way of doing things are not there anymore. So I think one of the things that I had to do was kind of like be able to sit with things that we don't want to deal with. Like one of the things, like, I know for a long time, depression and anxiety and wanting to feel like, the need to be accepted was something that really dealt with on the back burner because I was trying to be this artist, this Shotdy, this rapper, you know what I mean? I was trying to give off more than what it was really going on internally. And then the second thing, that happened with me, I think the entrepreneurship grew very much more. I've always had the mindset and the hustle of an entrepreneur. I just did not take those necessary steps and those movements until this time. Meaning, with a minority news group, media group, with doing Dope Land and turning it into Minority News Media Group, making Shotdy an actual name that's a brand, not just music, but podcasting, and trying to do some filming as a director and wanting to get into some acting. So it's a lot of things that I kind of looked into and reached out to mentors and tried to find myself a new group of mentors. And the third thing I'll say, because there might be a couple more, but the third thing I'll say is I reevaluated the group around me. And I think that's one of the things that I stress to a lot of artists right now. Just because you grew up with people and they're your friends and they got your back doesn't mean they want to help continue the process and the growth. And it doesn't, and when I say that, I don't want it to come off as a negative connotation. It just may be that their life has something that they got planned for them instead. Everybody has a different walk. Everybody has a different journey. So you can't get mad if they have to get off at their exit. You know what I mean? So sometimes I think it's important to reevaluate who's in your circle, who's in your team. And, every successful person I've ever heard from, they've always said the company you keep is the company you reach. So I think it's very important to do that and to say that. And then I think the last one was getting a lot of clarity on this concept album I've been working on. I think one of the things that I've always struggled with wanting to do a concept album. Just because I grew up in that era of concept albums and they mean everything to me. And I, to this day, still adore those albums. And so I really wanted to create something that was for the time, but it was open, it was honest. And I really, really got a chance to kind of narrow it down and really get a good understanding of who I am and what I'm trying to present to the world. And also more so realize I'm an artist that specializes in rapping from time to time. I can sing. I can do these other ones. I do EDM stuff. I do go off and branch out to different endeavors. And as an artist, I'm learning there's more of a skill set and a preparation that comes, more of a professionalism that comes with it as well, as opposed to being a rapper. They only think of you as so much. So that's why I'm very, very keen on nowadays, I'm an artist. I'm not just a rapper.
Word. And in my experience, I feel like I've started to see that more, more people are saying they're artists and stuff, but actually embody everything that an artist is. You're not just sticking to one form of art, right? Which I think is dope. But so kind of going back to the minority news,
Yeah.
So because like I see that on my timeline a lot. So like just talk about that and like what kind of sparked that and stuff.
Okay, so basically, what was going on in the world, and the climate of the world about a month ago was just absolutely crazy and chaos. But I also knew that because I had things going on, that I couldn't be on the front lines like I would like to be. So I really sat and thought, like, what could I do to give people more intelligence, insight, and more awareness as to what's going on, not only in this state, but what's going on around the world. And so I came in with the idea of Minority News is Everything, and I reached out to some friends and some mentors and some old college friends that I knew were in different fields and different areas. And so we created this platform where Tuesdays through Fridays, we have different conversations. So Tuesday night is all about relationship advice with my good friend Wiz, and that's called Beyond the Sheets. Wednesday is more of politics and hip-hop with my friend Joel Segas, who is a political activist in Georgia. Thursday is with my good man El Capitan, the ambassador, who is my mentor and who's also a black entrepreneur in LA, who's moved from LA to Georgia to DC. So he's in a lot of different climate areas, and he goes into inner city community schools and talks to kids when the schools are open.
Word. And
the community schools are open. So he's a great insight to talk about on that level. And then Fridays we talk about, I have a local DJ coming on, my boy, one of my DJs, fucking DJ Quixote from QNC. And then we just talk, shop about music, the current state of the game here in the state. And then at 10 o'clock, we have my buddy Nick Velasco come on, who is a business lawyer in San Diego, but has his license here in Mass. And he's my business lawyer. And so what we do is we talk about copywriting and IP address and making sure that people know what the difference between a trademark is and the copyright and a federal copyright and a federal trademark versus state trademark. So these are things that you want to know. So for me, I believe that activism is so important, and I believe that making a stand is everything. But however, I think that we needed to I wanted to find a different way of doing it than going to protest. Just because I think protest is one way of looking at it. And I think if you look at any group of people or strategy of people or intelligence of people who have had a chance to be on top, if you look at the Mayans, if you look at the ancient Romans, you look at all of these people, you kind of get an understanding that they kind of came together with something, but they were also divisive in how they moved. So Rome was not only good with military tactics, they were good with building educations. They were great with building newfound systems. So even though they took you over, they helped educate you more. And so one of the things that I think that we need to do as black people is great. I think protesting is wonderful. However, if we want real change and a massive amount of change to come, we have to do it in multiple areas and multiple fields. And so I think with this outlet and what I do here and what I try to do with the podcast is just try to do that, just to give more insight and intelligence for all different angles, because I think we all deal with relationship advice, you know what I mean? And everybody wants to get in the sheets, but there's life beyond it. Yeah. So that's why we call it that one. And then with politics and hip-hop and politics really aren't that different if you really look at it. It's just a lot of people may separate them, but there's a party that wants the old shit like we like back, and there's a party that likes the new shit. So isn't there a Democratic and a Republican Party if you look at hip hop? So
I've never actually looked at it like that. That's,
you know what I mean? Like there really is like and then there's a Green Tea Party who's like we're indie and we're alternative. Like there's a very big similarity between politics and hip hop if you sit and look at it. So and what's fun is Joel actually can give us the real like insight. I've always been a fan of politics because I used to be executive producer for a politics show for like about 6 months. So it was fun and it was a great job, but I've always been a politics guy, but to know it from somebody who's in it and a brother who's in it in Georgia where things are constantly changing and rapidly getting the attention of national news, I thought it was real important to get him on there. And so we've been having a great time having those conversations. And then Thursday with Knowledge is Power, I think one of the things that I've learned more so with this quarantine is the knowledge of myself as a black man and the awareness of that and knowing my roots and knowing where I come from and knowing what we've come from and knowing how we've tried to build things and how they've tried to destroy it. And so one of the things that my mentor tries to enforce and implore upon me is to continue to find the God within thyself. You know what I mean? To thine own self be true, to continue to find yourself in better areas and to know that the world may not see your vision, but you have to continue, because sometimes when people are given visions, nobody can see it until it's actually blown up, until everybody sees it for what you think it's supposed to be. But if that's the case, how would we all live? You know what I mean? Like, we all have the opportunity to control anything in our lives if we're smart enough to handle it. It's just sometimes we turn the brain off every once in a while. But in reality, as brothers and sisters in this community, we can never turn our brains off. We can't. Because they're never turning their brain off on how to turn us off, period.
Ooh.
So I'm trying to make sure that I understand that.
Word. Yeah, man, that's just a whole lot right there. Like, man, y'all, so off rip, like, yo, you guys know that you should, like, kind of tune in, like, make sure you even just tap in.
Yeah, I
like,
mean, and they go on
tap in.
IGTV right after immediately. So I don't take them down. I leave it. And the reason why I did IGTV is we can swear. We can talk shit. We can do what the fuck we need to do. There is no filter, which I believe we shouldn't have to have a filter. The 400, I think even now, maybe 500 times. 500 years, they tried to put us on a filter. Filters are done. It's done. Fuck that.
I feel that.
Let me say what I need to say. Let me express what I need to express. Let me talk the way I need to talk. Because if you don't look at it, if you notice whenever we try to speak up or we try to be loud around people that are condemned to know that they should be in a certain place, they tell you to calm down. But why? Because they were always taught that a certain volume level is respectable to people.
Right. Okay.
But do they respect you return? You feel what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah, I'm supposed to be giving this gratitude of respect and honesty, but if it's not reciprocated, then what am I doing? Yeah, so
it's a lot of food for thought, man. like real, like I'm just sitting here. I'm like, damn, like, you know, just kind of like reflecting. But nah, I really like your stance on that, and I feel like, you know, it's important to kind of be vocal about things, because kind of like what you're saying, like, it's protesting might not be for everybody, but you have to kind of find what works best for you and the best way to do something, I guess. Yeah. But so, oh man, that was just a lot. Like, I don't even know how to segue.
Nah, but like, good. But my biggest thing is so right before you segue into the next one, my biggest thing is with that, to piggyback off your comment you just said, what happens when the protest ends? Every protest has to end. That's my whole point and my whole like ideology behind it, in the way that I think with it, is that it's like church. Church is only on for 2 hours, 3 hours. Like, it's what happens when service is over? Because my father used to say, God rest his soul, as a pastor, when service ends, our work to you truly begins. So really, when that's over, that's when the work starts, because that's a unification of a moment where everybody is understanding that we need to stand for something. Right. But that's not when the job is finished. And a lot of them think that that's the job, and it's not.
Wow. Yo, that's so real, bro.
Like, man, this is stuff I be sitting with thinking about myself.
Now you got me sitting here. I'm like, damn. Like, I like really never thinking about like having these types of thought processes. Like, wow. Like, yeah. It's, if you do go to church, it doesn't just. It's not about what you do while you're there. It's about what you do while you're at home. Yeah. Oh man. Nah, this is good. This is good though. I love it. But so who is Shotdy? Like, you mentioned, you're an artist, but like, what do you kind of like? How long have you been an artist, I guess?
So I have been working on music since I was in college. I had a lot of different aliases before I got to Shotdy. So there was Versatile, Menace to Society, Theory. I went through as many names as Diddy, I promise you. But I finally got to it, and I laugh when I tell this story all the time, because like my older cousin, was cussing me out, but he gave me the name, and he was like, he was working on his car in our garage, and he was like, I don't know what the fuck you sitting here going through all these stupid ass names for and shit. You got the perfect name. You had it since you was a kid. And I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, Shotdy, bro. Everybody call you Shotdy. You've been called Shotdy in this family for God knows how long. So it's either Shotdy, Shot LaRock, Shot a Dude, like, and it was a whole bunch of other ones that came. So long story short, I was like, yo, when I really decided, like, this is my career, this is what I want to do, I think I was about a year out of school. I had just come back from Atlanta. I traveled for a little bit. I took my life savings from college, and I just traveled. I traveled to L.A., I traveled to Chicago, I traveled to New York, just to learn what the sounds were, learn what the vibes were, learn the business, learn the education, because I was like, I'm not going to put out anything until I know how the whole world vibes.
Ooh.
And if I understand that, I can go out and I can go get it.
Mm-hmm.
So it may be hard at the beginning, but I can go get it if I understand the language of everybody. And I made a lot of good friends to this day that I still connect with and I still have conversations with, and I support their music and they support mine. So I'm glad that I took that trip. It wasn't, for somebody who wanted high hopes of that trip, they probably would say I came back with nothing. But me, I came back with everything. I came back with knowledge. I came back with an understanding of how people like music. I learned about drill in Chicago before drill even came to New York. So like I had learned about some shit that was coming up. And in Atlanta, when I was living with my uncle in Riverdale, I had heard about the Migos and half of their first album on the radio. So it was like by the time it came up here, it was like, oh shit, yo, they fired. But it was like it took like another 6 months for it to reach up here.
Right.
And so I understood that sometimes when you pop up in your region doesn't mean you're going to pop in the next region. You know what I mean? You got to, like, I think one of the things that I loved about that trip was I took a very old school approach to being a new school artist. Meaning I traveled everywhere. I went everywhere. I learned everything. I soaked up as much knowledge as possible. I tried things. When I was with my uncle in Riverdale, I remember he worked in Atlanta. And so every morning he would get up at like 8 and I would get up with him. And from the time he was at work to the time he was done, I had 50, 60 CDs. And I'm going to every studio, every station in Atlanta, just walking and being like, yo, take my shit, take my shit, take my shit, take my shit. Sometimes I had to sneak in back doors. If this is that station that's listening, I'm sorry. But I'm just saying, like, I did whatever it took to get it. And sometimes I got hit with reality. Sometimes they were like, yo, you should be in the Northeast. You're better off up there. I think East Coast will fuck with you more. Down here is cool, but you got to learn a vibe and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to lie, it hurt. But at the same time, if I didn't go down there and take that lesson, I would have never came back up here ready to work and ready to eat everything that I fucking touch. So it was one of those things that was like really special. So Shotdy stands for Souls Heal Over Time, Daryl Young. So my name is Daryl Young. My full name, my government name is Daryl Young. So when I say that my music, I want it to heal you. Whether it's I need to worry about some ass right now, or I need to worry about getting faded, or I need to feel like I'm lost because I'm fading away from somebody, or, somebody's on my nerves and that ain't the wave I'm on right now. I try to get you to understand that, like, all of us are damaged souls and we got to heal over time. And so I just use that with my life and me as a person to do that every time I get on the mic. So that's what I hope to inspire, whether in a good way or whatever. But for the next 3 minutes, next 2 minutes and 45 seconds or 4 minutes, if you can forget what's going on in your life and in your world and what's happening with you to enjoy what I'm saying to you and to kind of take yourself away, I've done my job. I think one of the things that I've learned also through quarantine is that it may not come in multiple record sales. It may not come in anything. But if I help somebody's life and maybe fix the relationship, or maybe if I had somebody want to go talk to somebody that they needed to work some shit out with, then I did my job. Because it's really not about how much profit I can get about it. It's how much I can gain from it.
Right.
From giving back. And so that's one thing that I've desperately learned with this new album I'm working on and with quarantine is it's really, a lot of us are so fucking selfish. And I spent so much time being selfish. And I thought it was about being selfish to myself about certain things, but it was a mind thing. It was a heart thing. It was more like when we say that we're selfish, it's more than just I want this time for me. It's the way you act, the way you carry, the way you do things. And so one of the things that I loved about this, and I feel like some people look at me like I'm sick, but I love it. I love going through hard times. Like at first I hate them, but then I love them. And people are like, why? I'm like, because I know I'm growing.
Right.
It's like being in the gym. If I'm not in pain, I'm not building muscle.
Right.
So it's like, yeah, but we all look at everything as the glass is half empty. But I'm trying to, like, one of the things that my mentors are teaching me is like, your glass is more than full, brother. Your glass is more than full. And I think that's one thing that we all got to get out of our misconceptions. Our glasses are full. They just want to teach you that you half empty.
And it's another gem right there. Yeah, man, like, I know I agree with that, and like that's definitely something that I'm working on for myself. Just kind of, it's all about reshaping your mind and how you kind of think, because like at a young age, like we're also, or like some of us kind of get into these misconceptions of looking at things through a negative lens, but like that's not the case. Like you have to be able to kind of break from that and be different, like step outside your comfort zone, because like kind of like what you were saying, like you're not growing if you're like you can't grow in your comfort zone, like at all. So, and
the other thing too is it's hereditary. It's not that like I think a lot of people think like it's a damaging thing to see that, but it's not really on you. It's hereditary, meaning they have already put this systematic in place to make you think negative. Before we even got brought over here, right? They, for years and centuries prior to trying to figure out how to enslave us, came to Africa to learn knowledge, to learn mathematics, to learn all of these things. So they're trying to get you to never see how full of potential you are. And so one of the things that I hate to deal with music, and sometimes it's the reason why, like, I love dealing with bands more than I like dealing with regular artists, because I can have these kind of conversations with the band as opposed to an artist, or a rapper. And I'll tell you why. Because a band, one person may think like the rapper, but there's another 3 or 4 that have such a different perspective on the world, and because of those 4, that artist is now able to rise to a different occasion because they're telling them about it. Whereas a rapper is like, yo, man, this shit's going crazy right now, man. Should be bucking in the streets, bro. It should be like crazy. Nigga, nobody's in the streets right now.
Right.
It's COVID. Even drug dealers are chilling on that shit. They don't want to die. So, like, what are you talking about?
Right.
Now, if you my dude and I know what you do, when I know where you from and I know what you rep, I ain't talking to you. But you feel what I'm saying? Like, this is for those people that are like, yo, let me talk about some hard shit, when it's like, bro, like, you went to a private school.
Yeah. That's real talk. Like, that's real. You
and
feel
a lot
me?
of people, the thing is, for me, is what I hate about here, and I'm sorry if I'm overstepping, but
you good.
I feel like one of the hardest things here that we run into with Boston artists is like, yo, how come we don't get recognition? How come we don't get shine? There is no loyalty beyond brothers in this city at all. And when I say that, I mean outside of your camp. If you got a camp, your camp is the camp. Fuck this other camp. We don't need other camp. Why? That's not how any place else in this world works musically. It's not how we work. It's not how businesses work. It's not how entities work together. Even if you are rival companies, you still try to find a way how to deal with each other on a competitive, respectable level, because you still need each other in the market in order to grow. And a lot of times here, we're all trying to take each other out, but we need each other in order to grow this basis. We're so concerned about, I need my boy on, I need my boy this, I need my boy, instead of being like, yo, I like his music too. I like his music too. There's several times on my post, I will put up my brother's music that I love. And they don't even know I'm doing it because I don't care. I'm just sitting here in my house smoking, and I'm like, yo, I want to play Plus Keto shit right now, bro. Like, because why? Because Keto used to produce some shit for me back in the day when we first started at Phoenix Down. So I know how hard he's been working, and that's my dude, and I like, fuck, the record's hot. My nigga Buff, he just put out Bet. I love that shit. I'll fucking play that shit in here on my YouTube all the time. I ain't gotta fucking just sit there and be like, yo, my nigga, I fucking like your shit. Nah, if I like it and I love it, I'm gonna post it. Because that's what it really means about showing support. So when everybody's talking about like, yo, I got support, that's bullshit. Because I know how I show support. I don't ask for it. I don't tell them I'm doing it. I'm just doing it because that's what they need and that's what they deserve. And just like you, there's other people out here working hard. And if you're going to be greedy, you're not going to get success. That karma is real. Karma is not a joke, motherfucker. That shit is real.
100.
And so if you're not putting out good shit into the universe, what the fuck do you expect you're going to get back? It's how the world works. And I think a lot of us, we think money gives us more than enough power, or having a significant other who's better, or having this ability to take care of us is good. But like, we're all so codependent now that being independent is a scary thing. And so being independent is looked at as being crazy, when in reality, independent is how you survive. And a lot of people don't want to survive, but that's just me.
Bro, you really like you make me at a loss of words, but like this is good like quality content, and like I'm glad we get to have this conversation, and like I don't even like, bro, you're not overstepping nothing, like you always got to say like I'm the type of person, like I know I like to hear what people think, right? So like I would rather you like go off and, you know, whatever's on your chest, like get that off and stuff. And, like, I'm not going to interrupt you, nothing like that.
Nah,
like,
I appreciate it, bro. But at the same time, I
say.
feel like these conversations are needed. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
100%.
And I think a lot of times, because I study the game in every entity. Like, I think that's the other thing that's, like, something about myself that I'm learning. Like, I have to, like, kind of reel back in is, like, I'm a student every moment of every day of everything. So, like, when I'm not studying music, I'm studying podcasts. When I'm not studying podcasts, I'm studying interviews. When I'm not studying interviews, I'm studying how to be the best of all of it. You know what I mean? And I think we all get tired at certain times, but you can't get tired when you're on doing it by yourself. Because to me, like, that's really shows, are you, like, I the best way I describe it is when we were growing up playing ball, right? And you're doing suicides, and you know your coach is trying to see who's going to outlast. And you know that last dude is lagging. Yeah. And you're trying to get him to move, so you'll go back a little bit less with him to move forward. Life ain't like that. You're going to have to finish all your sprints, and you're going to have to come in first. The problem is that you are a team still. And so when I say what I said about Boston as an entity, you can sprint ahead of me and beat me, but you need the other 10 people on this team to win.
That's real.
And so that's what I keep getting back to with that whole, like, thing. And then the other thing too is it's a multiple, like, it's a fork to me. You got the artist as one, you got the media as another, and then you got the writers. Now, writers, I think, have done a phenomenal job. They're in a dying industry, which they should be celebrated because they're doing an amazing job trying to write the underground of the city. But the media blogs, you can't sit here and say you're about everybody and you're about change of everybody and you blackball people. I had a conversation with a company out of this state, and I asked them, why do you keep sitting here saying that you're about cultural change and you're about putting people that have unique and different stories when everybody's story literally sounds the same? So why are you sitting here talking to me about I don't believe that we blackball you when I know for a fact that you're blackballing? Because I know two of the people that were just previously on your post, they've been doing music for almost 2 years and they've been building some great work, but you didn't know them. So, you know what I mean? And I think the other thing too is like a lot of times in here, it's like older heads don't think young heads know business. You can't play that shit with me. I know my business like the back of my hand. So if you're going to play that card, please come more intelligent than that, because I'm here looking at your list while I'm talking to you on your Instagram. So we need to have this kind of conversation where, like, yo, what the hell is going on? And so they're like, no, you know, nah, we want to, like, represent other people. We want to represent people that are, like, you know, doing different things, different stories. So what is the difference between a brother doing a video in the hood in Mattapan and a brother doing a video in the hood in Dorchester? That's unique. It's different. I'll wait. Couldn't answer me back. Museum TV, by the way, but couldn't answer me back. Couldn't answer me back. They were just like, all right, bless, have a good day. That's a cap out answer, okay? Yeah. That's a cap out answer. Anybody in real business will tell you that's a fucking cap out answer. You didn't answer the question correctly. And any business entity and any marketing company of a CEO would sit there and be like, yo, bye. You need valid proof. If you're going to stand there by your quality and you do this good work, stand by your quality and actually do creative shit. I haven't seen you do a band. I haven't seen you do anything that goes outside of your bounds. If you're supposed to be about music, be about music. Yeah. Not the music that is paid to be put on your thing. Not the music that is paid to do this or to do that. If you want to do this, and if you're serious about helping the culture, help the culture. Don't get a payday out of it. I'll give a perfect example. Miss Hot Sauce, for about 3.5 years, busted her ass on that fucking 94.5 and 96.9, wherever one she was on. Got no credit, but she was still building that industry. Don't you know Spark FM is now one of the hottest things in this city, and she built that shit? But she had to build a team of people. She saw the long game. And a lot of times, as brothers, we don't see the long game because we too busy looking at anger. Right. And anger got to get the hell out the way, because anger's not going to make you money. And I know we all like money.
Again, man. But, like, so is Museum TV, are they out of Boston?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But my thing is again, like, they do wonderful work. I don't want to sit here and just do bashing, because I think bashing is wrong, especially for another black-owned business. That's wrong. They do good work. They are trying to build a platform. However, my point and my argument was you're sitting here and stationing to people that you are different.
Mm-hmm.
But really, you're doing the same thing with a different, unique style.
Gotcha.
Like, what is... So just because I didn't get Frosted Flakes and I got cornflakes doesn't mean I still didn't get Frosted Flakes.
Mm-hmm. I see. I think, but yeah, so like going back to what you were saying before, like these conversations are kind of important because there's a lot of stuff. Like I know, like I'm just kind of getting started.
Mm-hmm.
So like there's definitely like a lot I have to learn, and like I'm learning a lot just kind of being here with you and like
I appreciate that,
hearing what you're saying. And then, so what? Damn, I'm trying to like find the way to.
No, take your time, bro. No worries.
So, I'm gonna deviate. But what?
Let's
deviate.
let's deviate.
like it's gems. It's gems.
Nah,
it's
it's all
gems.
good.
Like,
Let's deviate.
I'm not
deviate.
even
I'm with it. I'm with it.
But what got you into music? Like the whole, or like not just music, but like business. Like what got you?
So I was always I love. So how I got into music, I was always rapping and stuff as a kid, but I never really took it serious. And then I saw Childish Gambino when I was a freshman and I was at ENC in Quincy, and a girl that I was dating at Wellesley invited me to go to this show at Brandeis and about this guy named and I had no idea who he was at the time, and I'm just sitting there thinking like, yo, it's gonna be a good date. I'm gonna chill with this girl, we're gonna go home, shit's gonna be good. And I get there, and as soon as he comes on, I swear it's like I know every time I say this to people, they're like, yo, what the fuck is around you? But I'm like, there was this like glow, euphoric feeling like this is what I'm supposed to be doing for the rest of my life. What this guy is doing right here. I was mesmerized. I couldn't move. The girl left for like an hour. I could care less. I was sitting here just like, what is this guy?
Yeah.
Like, this is amazing. Black and white music, nigga. That's a mixtape. Oh my god. Oh, what? You know, because it was like, as somebody who grew up between two worlds, I found somebody who represented me, and it made it that it was possible. You know what I'm saying? Like, it blew my head. And so I came back from that night. I'm sitting there for like a week, 2 weeks contemplating. And then so my buddy, one of my best friends at the time, he's taking a recording class. And so Eric invites me over while I get off of work, and he's like, yo, I got studio time right now. Yo, come over and drop a bar or two. And I go over there and I get on that mic, and I've never looked back since with music. I literally signed up for the class. I took as many hours as I could from anybody else that was taking the class, and I studied and learned and recorded until I couldn't anymore. And then I did what I was telling you about when I graduated, and then I came back. But the business side of it, I think I really got into when I was always at jobs and I was always working, but half of my mind was always working on this. Half of my mind was always like, I got to make sure how I can make this happen, how I can double this, how can Shotdy be out there, how can I put myself on this, how can I put myself on that. And so as I got over the last year, it was one of the things where it was like, do you want to take this jump, or do you want to like constantly keep a job? And so I did constantly keep a job, but at the same time, like, I knew with each passing month, like, I was getting more and more into this entrepreneurship, especially because the job I had at the time, I was working at Harvard Law as an IT guy, and I absolutely loved the job, but I had so much information given to me for free. I mean, I would sit with professors sometimes for lunch. I got an amazing opportunity to sit and have tea with Dr. Cornell West for like 15 minutes. Wow. And the brother gave me such great advice. I was telling him about a personal journey that I was going through and some things that I was talking about, and just his insight and his wisdom as a black, intelligent man, like understanding, like one of the things that he stressed to me was like, when you're intelligent and you try to do it with dignity, you will never get respect until you got grace. And I was like, well, what the hell does that mean? He's like, they're never going to respect you when they're young and ready to tell you that you're wrong. They'll always look back in history and have to tell you that you were right.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
And that blew my head. And I mean, again, I only got 15 minutes with the man, but I was just happy to have those 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But just the amount of knowledge that I got in those 15 minutes, and just the wisdom that he was trying to teach. And he was like, the things we think about are minuscule. Like, the things we like, and his, like, what he was talking to me about was like, when he was coming up, they were trying to make sure that they could get an education so they could survive, so they wouldn't get killed. Because if you were at a certain area or a certain place and you didn't have enough money, this and the third, they'd get rid of you, and the cops wouldn't even care less. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was wild how, like, I'm sitting here and I'm just like, yo, like, they had the right idea. Now, when they went to give us the message later on, they sucked at giving us the message. But the message was, build yourself up so you can build anything you want. Whereas now, we build up certain parts of ourselves to get certain things we want, and then we wonder why we have pitfalls in different areas. Which kind of wrap backs into one of the things that I was talking about earlier. What I learned through quarantine was I had to really take care of myself, because I can't sit here and have these conversations with you if I haven't had these conversations with myself. I can't sit here and say this to you if I haven't had these conversations in the mirror and said, you need to be better at this. You could do better on this. You may not be the most perfect at this, and you got a lot of work to do in this area. But if I can do it to myself, that means when anybody else comes to do it to me, what the fuck does that mean? I know this shit, so what are you going to say to me? But a lot of us don't do that. We ready to jump the gun. We ready to move quick. Ready to be like, yeah. And so conversations escalate straight into fight and violence instead of conversations turning into, yo, let's negotiate. Let's work on something. Let's build something. Because a lot of times, the same people that are arguing about stuff are the same people striving for the same shit.
That's real. And in becoming Shotdy, like, did you find, you know, like, what the best forms of inspiration were of, like, creating content, whether it's music or, like, a business idea, something like that? Like, did you find what works best?
I think I'm still learning. I'm still learning every day. There's a lot of things musically wise, as far as marketing and business concerned, I can be much better at. Business wise too, but I think one of the things is just I have the hunger and the drive that exceeds all expectations of anybody I know, and so I'll figure it out. I may not figure it out today, I may not figure it out tomorrow, but please believe I'm a damn near figure it out. And I'm strategic. I've always been like, that's the one thing too. Like I you know, we were talking about it before, but I love old Italian mobster movies. Like I live by those codes, you know, and you know, strength isn't shown when you want to show an iron fist. Strength is shown when you can do it without anybody thinking that you know. And so one of the things that I try to operate with this and how I try to show black business owners is like, you got to operate in a sense of never let the next man know what you're thinking fully. You know what I mean? You know, you can't do this. There's rules, there's codes to the game, but at the same time, there's honor. You know what I mean? I think there's a lot of times where we all are trying to play that out. But the way that I look at it is the game of hip-hop and the game of life are just two of the same things. I'm just playing both at the same time. And I think when people realize, like, you're living a life and you're living a dream at the same time, you have to realize they both coexist. And I think a lot of times people don't want to realize that they coexist. And so sometimes you're questioning why, as a human, I got to do this because my dream ain't this. But have you put yourself in a situation where you're surrounding yourself with a team? Wherever job I've ever had, I've always tried to make friends, or I've tried to make fans wherever I've gone, whether it's by personality, my character, whatever, because that's still going to linger. And next time that I put something out, they're going to be like, hey, that's Shotdy. Hey, that's Daryl. Oh my gosh, I got to listen to it. I love it. I can't wait to see it. Small efforts and small concerns like that are great. Like, for another instance, a lot of artists will go and pay for marketing, right? Because why would you go and pay for marketing when, if you, let's say me and you take a picture and I say Cambridge, Mass, and I put the location, if you go and geotag that and go to recent tags and look at the last 10 posts and just comment on a nice post, you could get another 5 to 10 fans. But artists will pay somebody $75 to do that. Why wouldn't you keep the $75 in your pocket?
Right.
That's 2 hours of studio session that I'm from. Damn near. I mean, $5 more, that's 2 hours. So
right.
What are we doing here? You know what I mean? But you don't want to take the time to do it. And so it was one of the things that me and Quixote were talking about yesterday, and I say it, and it's not to tick anybody off, but it's a real question. Do you do this as a career, or is it a hobby? Because now, if you look at me in my eyes, I know if you could do it as a career or hobby. I know. Yeah. I know. Like, you don't have to sit here and give me like, oh, this whole I could tell. You can tell. Because the way you came in was going to tell me how you present yourself professionally.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may not act professional all the time, but you have that mindset. And a lot of people get the two confused. However, there's a lot of times where a lot of people don't come in the right way. And it's like, it's also, I got to point this out. If you're going to do music in Boston, can we please stop having these gang up videos of all your homies in the hood in the city? It's the same video with different niggas in it. I'm sorry. Like, this town is way too more creative. Your music is too much. Your music is too good for you to keep doing the same shit.
Mm-hmm.
Be creative. Hire a director. Go to Emerson. Go down the street. Go to the Mass Art. You live in the city of college.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's trying to get a break. And the best you can do is tell me all of you and your buddies spent $150 on some hoodies that y'all could have got from somewhere else and put that together. Like, come on, man. It's not like a hindrance. It's like I'm trying to show you there's more.
Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? Like, there's more to this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Like, be creative. And then you wonder why. One of the things that blew my head one day, right? And I think it was about a year ago, and I'll never forget it. I was at a buddy's house. We was working on something for him. We were working on a new song. He was showing me the video for another record. And I was like, yo, this is dope. And he turned his record off and showed me somebody else's video.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat back for a minute and I'm like, did he just turn himself off to show me somebody else?
Wow.
And then it dawned on me, he likes their creative vision more than he likes his own. You can't do that if you're an artist.
Right.
I mean, you could do it after I leave, but if I'm sitting here building and working with you, if we're not trying to reference something, why are you showing me somebody else's shit?
Right.
Unless we're sitting here like, yo, I want to do something similar to this. He was just like, nah, yo, check out this video. Turn off his whole record.
Yeah, that's pretty wild.
But it's not as uncommon as you think.
Right.
That's the crazy part. As like that was the first glimpse of that, but as I got like once that glass ceiling broke, I seen it with other people too. I just didn't notice that it was happening so much. But it's astonishing. And then people wonder why you don't have support and backing for what you do. You can't even go 3 hours on your shit.
But like that's kind of because I kind of feel the same way as well. Like, you know, because I try to listen to like a lot of music and stuff, but like when I get to the point that I'm like, all right, like this sounds like somebody else. Like, all right, like I personally believe that there's a difference between being inspired by something and doing exactly what somebody else is doing.
I agree.
You know,
I agree.
So and I feel like I'm seeing that a lot. Like
It's a lot of copycats. It's not a lot of originals.
Yeah, and you know, it's that, oh, I have to, like, this is working for that person, so I have to do it. But that's not the way to go about it. Like, you gotta, you know, like you're your own person, and like you said earlier, like everybody has their own path. Like there's no need to sacrifice what you're doing for views or like for likes, whatever, like whatever it is.
Well, I think the other thing too is like, you know, and I'm learning this myself, I wasn't taught to be an artist. I taught myself and learned how to become an artist. So for those who went to school and got the structure and understanding, they understand song elements, song keys, how the business works, how things operate. If you're doing this and you're like, yo, I like music and I want to make music, you got to realize you already start in 12 grades behind. Because there's people that are already, like, that's why my behind is working like crazy. There's kids that have been doing this since 6 with 5 different instruments, waiting for me to sit there and be like, when are you going to F up because I'm waiting for my shot? And I think a lot of us don't look at it that way, but we look at it with basketball. We look at it with football. We look at it when we on the field. Why can't we look at it when we doing this? There's some kid out there right now, like, for instance, like, there's some kid right now, while we doing this, there's some kid out there 6 years old, listening to a song, being like, I want to be a rapper. And on the back of some napkin or some other shit, that kid is writing some shit.
Yep.
And that kid is wanting to come for everybody's spot. And in about 10 years, the kid might, if he keeps up at it. But he started at 6. How many of them that got classical or musical or advantages or who sat there for years with multiple millions of dollars in their face And you mean to tell me you think you're going to do it because you're from the street and you hard? It's hard when reality hits them, because then it's like, oh, fuck, oh my God. Well, I didn't know. And then it's like, oh, it's too hard. No, it's not. It's just how bad do you want it? I'll die for this shit.
That's what it boils down to. That's what it boils down to at the end of the day.
At the end of the day, how bad do you want it? Because if you can't sit there and look somebody in the eyes and say, I'll die for this shit, you don't want it.
Yeah, man. I agree with that 100%. And
also, this music right now, A1 Rosebud. I love it.
Yeah,
it's A1, baby.
Man, I'm over here. I'm like, I'm bobbing my head.
Right? This is A1.
I gotta focus a little bit. But so I think the first time I kind of caught a glimpse of you was that it was the footage of the Bridgeside Cypher.
Yeah. So, shout out to Aaron, man. Shout out to my brother Aaron, man. Incredible man right there for putting that shit together. Shout out to Terry B, Kashi 2 times, man. Shout out to the brothers over there. Shout out to Kamari Jones, man. Shout out to Charles Woodson. Shout out to the fam, bro.
So I think because I think it was the last one, not the one. Was it the one earlier this year?
Yeah, I think it was the one in. I think it was the one in the alley
art studio. I saw the one in the art studio.
Yeah,
that was the one I was at. But I think the one in the alley.
Yeah, the one in the alley.
That's
the one where I was snapping, because that chick, yo. So the crazy thing is, like, what a lot of people don't know is that video. Everybody's like, oh my gosh, this stuff. There was a crackhead lady that was in front of the camera, and she was yelling while I was freestyling. And so I was like, yo, fuck this, cut this shit. I did this all freestyle. And so they're just like, oh my God, this nigga really went out of his shit to go get her. And I'm just like, yo, it wasn't even like, it was a instant reaction, because she's sitting there yelling at me. I'm like, honestly, she looked like one of my aunts without her wig on. So I was kind of pissed. So I was just like, yo, I'm not like, I'm not dealing with this bitch right now. Like, yo, fuck this. So it ended up being that. But, man, like, I love Aaron and them for that, just because that opened a lot of doors for me, for a lot of people, just to see me as an artist and to see me in that way. But I was kind of hesitant afterwards, because he wanted me to come back like a couple more months afterwards, and I did. But he was like, he wanted me in it, and I'm like, bro, I can't, because my thing was like, I didn't want to be labeled as a freestyle artist.
Right.
Like, that was my hardest thing for me. Like, and because Aaron has been nothing but loyal and great to me, and has nothing but supported me. And, you know, I always want to make sure that I do right by him. But I was like, in the back of my mind, I was conflicted, because I was like, yo, I want to be known as an artist. I don't want to be known as just a freestyle guy.
Right.
And so I was like, yo, let me go do some other things that will show the difference and the differentiation. And then he was like, yo, man, I got another one tonight, come through. And I was like, man, I miss the crew, because I had made a lot of good friends at all the events that I went to over there. And they became like my new family. So I was like, yo, let me just go over there. And that's when I went to the art gallery one, because it had been a little bit. And I went to that one, and I just had so much on the chest in life going on at the time. And, like, I remember, I think at the time, right, I think I'm talking to Terry B. I'm talking to Terry Borderline and his sister. And my sister, his fiance, Sassy. And I'm sitting there complaining about some chick that I'm talking to. And I'm just like, yo, excuse me, like, bro, I just came to get some shit off my chest tonight, and I said nothing about her. So I'm like, yo, what the hell? I'm like, afterwards, I'm like, yo, this is bullshit. But I'm sitting there, and I'm realizing, like, that energy that they gave me, and, like, just being in that place and being around people who are hungry for what they love. You know what I mean? Like, some of those guys in there got jobs. Yeah. Like, they straight left work, didn't even go home and shower. They came, you know what I mean? That's the type of shit that I love. So for me, it's like, when you gotta give the facade and all this ego and shit, I got a chain. I don't need to wear it all the time. I got all that shit. Like, that's cool. Like, time and place for everything, bro.
Right.
When you're here, this is a workshop. We here to work out, and we here to work. And that's what I love about everybody in there. And there's so much different vibes, different feels. And so when I was up there and I was ready to do my thing, it was just kind of like, honestly, like, it's funny because I say it, because I've been rewatching the show, but I feel like when I'm in the zone, I'm in the Avatar state, and I feel like it's just like it's hard. Like, I don't even, like, sometimes I can't even describe to you like what's going on. I just know that I'm there. I'm just there.
Oh man, nah, that's a great feeling, and like I'm kind of glad I went, because I was like, just kind of at least seeing the footage and then kind of being there in person. I was like, wow, like I really get to experience this, and like there's just way more artists than I thought was gonna be there. Like I didn't know. I was like, okay, like I thought it was like a set thing, and like certain people kind of like my fault.
Nah, no worries. Got the old school playing in the background. Listen, if you don't know, you better ask somebody, man. Old school on Saturday make your life better, baby. You better cut
Do
that
your
out.
research. Nah, this that good music.
You know, that's one of the reasons why I always said like I don't want to just be a rapper. Like I want to be a artist, because like I want like me and the Ice Killers, we want to make music like this. We want to bring you back to that 70s 60s time of peace. Like, you know, I feel like we're a lot of flower children, you know, populated for the 2020s. So shout out to the man Rosebud over there, you know. But I feel like all of us need like. All of us, like, I keep going back to it with the name, but it's so true. I think all of us need healing, man. Like, we all broken. You know, you want to sit there, like, we all can sit there and try to front it and say we don't or not, but Tinder wouldn't be alive if we weren't broken.
Right.
Instagram wouldn't be alive if we weren't broken. Twitter wouldn't be popping off with Jada and Will right now if we weren't broken. So there's a lot of stuff that could go down. Also, I gotta say, I didn't know that it was already July and she had already ran through June and August. But that's besides the point. I'm gonna get off it. I'm done.
Man.
I'm just sorry. This shit is funny. I did a whole top 10 memes today just on them. Yo, because there's so many memes. There's so many memes you can do it.
Like, oh my goodness. Oh, some of the ones are like with Will's face, bro. I just like. I felt so bad, bro.
And from here on out, any girl that want to talk to me, we're not dating, we're entangled.
Entanglements for the rest of the year.
We're entangled for the rest of the year. We not dating, you not my girlfriend, we entangled. Okay.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was like just kind of seeing that whole thing. Like, I didn't watch the full video.
Oh, I haven't yet. I feel like, no disrespect to them because they're like heroes to me.
Mm-hmm.
If I did, I'm gonna laugh half of the time because I'm like, this is some bull. But that brings up another point that's really good. We need to stop idolizing celebrity relationships.
Oh yeah,
like at all costs. I mean, all jokes and fun and game aside, like we need to stop like celebrating, because the thing is a lot of us are like, yeah, we don't, but reality you do, because you want somebody who's a knockoff of whoever this person is. And in reality, nobody's a knockoff of anybody. Everybody's a perfect copy of an original species of what they doing. The problem is that you are trying to make them into this person that you wish to be with that you're not with. And so when you idolize these relationships, you idolize hoping that your partner or this person is going to be more than that, or is going to rise to this occasion. But what if they're at that occasion and that's just what you need? And I feel like a lot of times in black relationships, we don't even want to go anywhere near a relationship because we're already concerned that she's got 3 or 4 niggas on the back end. I've lost out on having somebody that I liked, I genuinely cared about, and I wanted to be with, because I'm thinking like, yo, she don't talk to me every day. She don't be like this. She's like that. So I'm sure she got other niggas on her back. I'm sure she's, probably entertaining other people. And in reality, that shit's all well and fine because I'm not your man. But as a man who grew up with having different people telling me, like, yo, you got a bag that, and if she's doing that, ditch her. But in reality, all of us are doing it, so who's ditching who?
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's why I hate, like, if anything should teach you about relationships, famous relationships, it should teach you that there's a lot of different ways to love. And there's a lot of different ways that people can accept love. And before we get to anything else, we got to get to that love segment. Because loving yourself, loving your partner, loving the people around you, loving your community, loving the people that give you what you need and that nourishment is vital. It's key. But if you don't have a partner, you got to be able to realize that that's fine for you to do it for yourself. But you can't get that partner. You can't make that partner feel everything for somebody that they have no idea for. And a lot of us swear that we don't do it, but that's a lie, because it's in your DNA. It's part of you. It's a natural response. All of us do it. Anytime we get hurt by a significant other or another species, when we go into it, we're looking for you to fuck up because all we're waiting for is for you to do the same shit that person did so we can dip. We're not even looking at you to be a person or to develop or to grow. And one of the, for years, I used to hate couples. I hated couples. I hated them niggas. And it was like, it wasn't so that because like I hated them. I hated they had something I couldn't have.
Right.
But in reality, I wasn't ready at all. Because if I saw something on Monday and I took her out on Tuesday and saw something on Thursday, I'm taking her out on Friday. So am I really ready to settle, or am I just sitting here saying I really want to get as many notches on this motherfucking belt as possible? Now I'm like, let me hold off on that. You might be cool, but you also might be crazy. Let's have a couple more days of conversations before we meet, and then maybe that can be something that's bigger. But I think I hate that we glorify these relationships and are like, oh, relationship goals. No. Your relationship goal is being happy. Is having somebody that's willing to put up with your stupid ass day after day after day after day after day. Like that is relationship goals. Not this, oh, we're taking a beautiful picture and I'm going to go sleep with my boyfriend and I'm going to go sleep with my girlfriend as soon as this picture's over. Like, that's not relationship goals. Like, relationships goals is when you put me on your health care. Relationship goals is when I know on my taxes we're dependents, not codependent. Like, we're dependent of each other. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's... Show me that. Like, don't show me relationship goals of a picture, because a picture could say 1,000 words. And we always say those 1,000 words are good, but they are 1,000 words that could be bad, too. So, like, be careful when you say a picture's 1,000 words.
Nah, I agree with that wholeheartedly, because, like, even for me, like, you know, obviously, like, high school and stuff, so, like, because at the time, like, I was dating a girl, and, like, I had people come up to me, and they was like, a couple people, you guys are relationship goals. I'm like, bro, like, what?
What?
Like, but the thing is, like, there was just so much that was wrong, like, pretty much, like you saying, like behind off of social media, bro, shit was the worst. Like, honestly, like, I can't even put it into words.
Yeah,
but like,
it's just like, yo, why?
You know what I mean?
It was
like,
great. And then you're like, why?
And like, I think what a lot of it was too was like me and her are cool now, but like back then it was just like. Social media has to be like
fuck you, fuck.
Like, you know what I mean? It was like oh, this picture has to be perfect. Like, you gotta you gotta stand right here. No, like, move a little bit to like it had to be perfect. And I was just like, nah, there's no way. You feel me? Like,
yes,
like it was just like there's so much damage like I got from that relationship. And, like, definitely plays into, like, how I am now. But, like, it, like, that just kind of... So, yeah, like, I understand. Like, because I don't like saying, like, relationship goals no more. Like, nah, nobody's relationship goals. Like,
bro.
Like, I'm just trying to be me, trying to make sure that I'm good. And, you know, like, whoever else I'm interested in, like I want to know that you're good and you're all set, because, like, I'm not trying to... Like, I really don't feel like it's a repairing job.
No,
like that.
Not.
I think that's like the one thing I did take away from Will and Jada, like what Will said, this was like a while ago. He was like, it's not my job to make her happy, right? So you gotta kind of do your own healing.
Yeah.
I feel
that's a great point.
Like,
I'm glad you brought that up.
Like, you got to do your own healing, make sure you're good, and then, like, you know, we come together, because it's not my job to say, or like to try and go out of my way to make you happy. Like, you know, you got to figure out.
You're a part of it.
Yeah, I'm definitely a part of it. Like,
but you're not the whole reason to make somebody happy.
Exactly.
And and I'm glad you segued that perfectly for me, because I feel like a lot of us in our age bracket, between that 24 to like 30 age bracket, we want that, but we still stuck on that way of thinking. And so it's like, and you know what kills me? Like, I feel like, and maybe this is just me, or maybe this is just the spirit talking, but like, I feel like there's a lot of people in our lives, and like a lot of people that we come in contact with, and a lot of times where we were supposed to be with them, but because we were trying to idolize it or we were trying to think everything had to be this perfect moment, we fucked it up for ourselves. And the sad part is like, what happens when you realize you fucked it up? I think one of the things that I love about people that I talk to and that I'm friends with is that they can just come to me and be like, yo, bro, like, I'm sorry, I can't do this shit today. Like, here's what's going down. Like, if you can explain to me what's going down and, like, you're real enough to keep it a buck with me, why you ditching shit or you breaking down, that's fine. Because at least we're sitting here and being like, yo, I care about this person's friendship. I want to have them in my life after this, and I don't want to feel ignorant. Those are things that we should bring into a relationship. But the problem is everybody's worried about getting to bed and not be on the sheets. Yeah. So it's like, oh my gosh, like, you'll do anything to get there, and then when you get there, it's like there's nothing.
Yeah. I had that conversation like with my boy like a couple years ago. He's like, yeah, bro, like yeah, I could smash, but what's after that? You know? So it's like there's not a whole lot, you know, in that. Like, you have to be able to, like, there's definitely like a lot of components and like having a relationship, like, you know, like the base of, like, at least being,
it's called entanglement in 2020.
Yeah, man. So there's a lot that goes into these entanglements now, you know, like, but I feel like a lot of us are kind of realizing, like, what at least have a bit of knowledge of what goes into entanglements.
You know, the other thing too is I feel like, I think a bit of knowledge, and I think some of us are like kind of getting out of that cloud. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because, like, I feel like, and maybe it's just me, but maybe you can relate, but, like, when you go through something and you deal with a chick, like, it takes a while like, for you to get out of it. So I feel like a lot of us are in that point now where, like, we're not out of the woods yet, but, like, we can see the end of the woods. Like, you can see the end of the trail now. And so now you're kind of like, oh, okay. And that's, fellas, wait till she's out the trail. Wait till she's out the trail. Do not go in the woods looking for her. Please, please, please let her come out. You'll feel a lot better.
Oh, man.
Thank you.
I attest to that 100%. Oh, man. I want to say.
I'm just talking about from my feelings. I can't talk about nobody else.
I know that for a fact, bro, because, like, I really used to be that dude of, like, you know, like, trying to going into the woods, like, like, looking. It's like, oh, man, I'll just, you know, even if I were to look, you know, I peek in the woods and stuff, but, like,
bro, I built a house like Lil Red Riding Hood. I should have got my black ass out of there a long time ago. I just burnt that bitch down. I'm saying, it's got to go. Yeah. It has got to go. It has got to go. And the sad part is like, all of us is in the woods most of the time looking, and, like, but when I say that, right, like, you think I'm talking about in the woods looking for her. Nah, you still in the woods yourself. So how the hell are you supposed to find her when you can't even get out the path yourself? Because, like you said, you don't want to recycle. You don't want to be like a rehealing thing. But at some point or another, you might have to do that. So you got to know how to do it and how to get out of it for yourself. There's a lot of ways that can go. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you got to be careful. And also, as guys, like, we're very simple. So, like, it's not much to us.
Yeah. In all honesty. Man. So I think, I mean, we there's a lot of great content, you know, like, the music's still going. Like, this is great music right here.
Yes, sir.
But, like, I guess I'll, like this will be, like, my last question, but, like,
okay.
What advice would you kind of give to another creative, like, regarding anything?
I would inspire them to make their drive so strong that their best friend could never deny it. Because there is going to come a time in all of our lives when we're chasing something that nobody's going to believe and see what you're doing. And no one's going to understand your vision. And no one's going to understand why you're doing what you're doing. Keep going. Don't stop. Keep going. You're almost there. When they see the finished product, you'll be good. And when they see you on stage, you will look like you never gone through what you went through. So you got to make sure that you always stay with that drive, because that drive And then the other thing is if this is your career, act like it's your career. If this is a hobby, then let it be known it's a hobby. But if it's your career, make it your career. If podcasting is your career, make it your career. If rapping is your career, you better know every rap back and forth, and you better be able to give me 22 twos like I'm Jay-Z all over again.
Talk about it.
You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want to be a singer and an artist, you better be able to give me songs like Whitney and Usher. I need that. So if you want it, go get it. There's nothing stopping you but you, and you aren't in your way. You're allowing your mind to think that you're not. So go get it. Go find it. Enjoy that drive, and always make sure you understand you may not be the best alive, but you're the best thing that somebody needs to stay alive.
You mind saying that again?
Know that you're not the best alive, but understand you may be something that you may be what someone needs to stay alive.
Yeah, that's real rap right there. And like, I think so. I'm a big Eric Thomas fan. I don't know if you know who that is.
Yeah, the motivational guy.
That's my
guy.
I
used to wake up at workouts with him. How many you want to eat? How many you want to stop?
You feel me? Like, that's that dude. But something that me and my boy, like, my boy is really the one who said this to me. It was like, yo, you gotta step into the pocket. Step into the pocket. Excuse me. And that's pretty much like what you were saying of, you know, how bad you want it. Like, you gotta, like when a QB drops back, like, and he steps into the pocket, he knows what's around him is.
And he's only got a 5-second window to survey that whole field to figure out who's open.
You know what I mean? And like, he's focused. He's like, yo, I know what's around me. Like, I know, like, I believe in my team, or like. Not, it doesn't have to be a team, but, you know, like, when you step into that pot, you have to trust.
Yeah.
You have to believe in yourself that you know what you're doing and stuff. So
100%.
That's great advice right there. Oh man, I'm sorry.
I know, right? Well, so Rosebud will tell you. So, you know, so to close it up, you know, I'll give you, you know, just. You know, because it's me and you, I'll give you an exclusive. So we working on this album called 27 Club. And so the understanding of 27 Club is it's a modern day Job story. So, you know how in the Bible, Job goes, you know, God goes, you know, Job is one of my most trusted, loyal servants. He wouldn't trade me for nothing in the world. And so the devil goes, if you take your hands of protection and shit off of him, I promise you, like, he'll come to me. He'll come to me. And so, excuse me, I was like, how do we make this into a modern day story? So I took myself, and it was like, I guarantee. So God goes, I've brought him through a lot of stuff. He's going through some trials and tribulations now, but I guarantee you, he'll still be with me at the end of it. And the devil's like, nah, man, like, if you get your hands off him and get all this crazy shit, I guarantee you, I can make him a part of the 27 Club. I guarantee you, I'll make him kill himself, commit suicide, and do all this shit. So the album is really the God and devil within myself battling to see how long I'm gonna stay alive and do all these things. And so the end of the album, like, you get the whole preface and the story, but that's the concept album that I'm working on. Is like, I really wanted to give people a real modern day story of, you know, sometimes it's great, like, everything starts off amazing, and then in the middle it's gonna be some shit. It's gonna be hell, it's gonna be fire, it's gonna be pain. You're gonna feel like you wish you were never born. You feel like you ain't around. But if you can get through that, you can see more. You can be King Kong. You can stay up. You can see that there's bigger than you and I. You know what I mean? So that's what we work on. And so a lot of times, like, with this album too, I'm not listening to hip hop. I'm like, I refuse to listen to anything that's not 60s and 70s right now. Like, I don't even want to be attached to anything right now. Like, unless I'm taking a shower and I just want to hear my favorite shit. Other than that, I'm listening to this because it's an emotion, it's a feeling, it's a content. It puts you in a vibe, it puts you in a groove, and the best artists do that. Like, they sit and they put themselves in a mode, in a moment, and when you get that moment, it's over. You know what I mean? So that's one of the things that I'm excited about with this The new single should be dropping hopefully within the next 3 weeks.
Mm.
But I'm going to take my time. Like, I'm going to do it old school. Like, I'm going to give you 3 singles, and then I'm going to give you the album, and we're going to take it the old-fashioned way. Because I feel like this new-fashioned way, like a lot of artists, you can do it, but if you don't have the numbers, it's really bad. Like, you shouldn't do it.
Right.
Like, you shouldn't do it that way. Just because, like, some of these guys that are dropping, like, unannounced albums, they got 25,000 followers.
Mm-hmm.
They can drop 25,000 followers in an unannounced album. Mm-hmm. Because at least 350 of them are going to look at it before the morning. Mm-hmm. That's just science. That's just math. You know what I mean? So it's a matter of going back to the principal ways. Like, give them a single, give them a video, let them sit on it, let them marinate it. I'm on your screen Tuesday through Friday. It's not like you're not gonna see me. You know what I'm saying? But I think a lot of artists, we try to do that one thing. And the other thing too is like, I have a lot of songs right now that I'm working on. I won't even go on the album. I'm just doing collabs. Like, I just want to do a lot of collabs with artists in the city and just let them know, like, yo, let's do something together. Right. Let's do it. Like, because I'm tired of this whole, like, I've said it on this and I say it a lot, but I'm like, yo, I'm just gonna start doing it. Like, if that's the case, I'll be the nigga to do it. Like, I don't care if you sound harder on the record than I do. Like, it's not really that big of a deal.
Right.
Your fans will like it, my fans will like it, and we're still both bringing in some income. So what does it matter?
That's real.
Yeah.
I definitely think like that's an important piece right there. Like it's less about like, oh, who's hard, who did better. Just work together.
It's about the greater good. Like, to me, at the end of the day, we can have our individuality as an artist, but at the end of the day, do we want Boston to be on the map? How bad do we want Boston to be on the map? Are you willing to put your ego and your pride aside to let us win? Because if we win, you win.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, y'all heard it here first. You know what I'm saying? But, yo, I want to thank you, bro, for like, you know, working with me and stuff, because I know, like, this is kind of, like, overdue.
Oh, man, it's an
like,
absolute honor and a privilege, man. I was so excited to get to Saturday, bro.
Yeah,
I couldn't wait to hang out with you, man. I love your podcast. I love what you do, man.
Yeah, bro. And, like, I'm a big fan of you, so, like, I'm really glad, you know, we got to kind of chop it up and stuff and hear, like, I got to hear, you know, your thoughts and stuff, because, like I was saying earlier, like, it's definitely I learned a lot just from kind of sitting here. Like, a lot of stuff I didn't even know regarding like business and like the industry. Yeah, you know. So like, but yeah, like there's definitely like a lot more to learn, and we'll definitely get back up again.
Oh, hell
bro.
yeah,
like,
yo! I'm about to say, whatever you want, bro. You're more than welcome to come through. Whatever, again, I'll come to you, bro. This is absolute pleasure, and you know, I feel like Kings need to have more conversations like this, brother.
100%.
Absolutely. And, you know, there's nothing wrong with sharpening another brother's tool, sharpening the iron, because iron sharpens iron. And, you know, I believe in your podcast. I believe what you're doing, because you're really trying to give real insight. You're allowing us to talk. You're allowing us to be us, to give our insight and just to let us have the floor. And I know a lot of people don't do that, but, like, you know, bro, there was a lady that went into the Radio Hall of Fame last week, and I pray that energy and that spirit of Angie Martinez is with you as well, so that way you're able to blow and do everything you need, because I really appreciate see that with you, brother.
Appreciate that, bro.
Anytime.
For real. But, yeah, where can people find you, man?
You can find me on IG at I am Shotdy. You can find me on Twitter, Dopeland Shotdy. You can find me on Facebook. Tell them it was Shotdy or Shotty. You can find me on all streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, iTunes, Tidal, all of that. You can find me there. And you can find me on The Dawn Talk.
Word. Yo. Thank you guys for tuning in. All right, I'm going to talk to y'all next week.